Good afternoon. I would like to express some of my thoughts and opinions about the Second Amendment to the Constitution. To do that, we have to look at a couple of things in the rest of the Constitution and about government in general. Confiscation of personal property and restriction of citizens' activities are the only tools government has to advance its agenda. Our founding fathers knew this all too well given their experience with tyrannical oppression by the English monarchy. For this reason, the United States Constitution was written to explicitly define and limit the powers and responsibilities of the three branches of government. The Bill of Rights was added not to grant, but to enumerate specific individual rights and freedoms, with the 10th Amendment clearly stating, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Now, I suspect the current occupant in the White House skipped class the day this was covered in law school. He bemoans the fact that the Constitution is a limiting, restrictive document. In a 2001 interview, he stated, generally, the Constitution is a charter of negative liberties. Says what the states can't do to you, says what the federal government can't do to you, but doesn't say what the federal government or state government must do on your behalf. No. To that, I'll respond the way my kids do. Well, duh. The Second Amendment, in my opinion, and the opinion of numerous constitutional scholars, was included in the Bill of Rights not for hunting, target shooting, or even for the right of personal protection, but to ensure that the states had the means to resist, by force if necessary, a tyrannical federal government. Our personal freedoms are under constant attack, both nationally and within our state. We have state and federal legislators that introduce clearly unconstitutional bills that attempt to restrict firearms ownership and use. The national political scene has countless groups campaigning against the rights of firearms owners. These groups are vocal, well-funded, and supported by the media. All citizens must boldly face this opposition and call them on their lies and distortions. They would have you believe that gun control reduces crime and keeps guns out of the hands of criminals. On its face, this argument is false. The criminal intent on harming another is not going to be dissuaded by a misdemeanor offense of possessing a firearm. The only people affected by gun control are the law-abiding citizens. We also have gun-free zones, but they are rife with crime. As an example, two of our very own Georgia universities, Georgia Tech and Georgia State, both in downtown Atlanta and both gun-free zones, reported a 70% increase in violent crimes on their campuses from 2007 to 2008. Well done. Are we to believe that these gun-free zones are safer because of restrictions? Or does it make government-sanctioned victim zones where the criminals know that their targets are armed and easy prey? Our lawmakers would also have you believe that they only want reasonable restrictions. Let me ask you, what part of shall not be infringed do they not understand? Reasonable restrictions is a game they're playing to continue slowly eroding our rights and our ability to safeguard our liberties. Make no mistake about it, their agenda isn't about gun control, it's about people control. In my opinion, the greatest threat to firearm freedoms is not those that are trying to take our liberties, but sometimes firearms owners themselves. We have become not just complacent, but timid in our presentation to the world of our thoughts on freedom, particularly as they relate to firearms. It appears to me that some of us are concerned that we might be viewed as odd or not politically correct, or maybe thought of as part of the fringe, if it is known that we have and use firearms. All the noise and rhetoric from the media implicitly and explicitly represent firearms owners as intellectually stunted, dueling banjo types. Even our president opined that we cling to our guns and religion out of fear and ignorance. Yeah, that's what I say. No, we don't. According to a 1994 report from the Department of Health and Human Services, there are over 80 million firearms owners in the United States. Another number I'd like you to consider is that only 3% of the colonial American population directly participated in the Revolutionary War. Assuming that same percentage of today's 80 million firearm owners would take up arms again if necessary to defend our nation, you'll realize that that is 2.4 million armed citizens, which is greater than the largest standing army in the world. These numbers clearly demonstrate that we are not the minority, a fringe group, or out of the mainstream. We are the mainstream. We must resist further erosion of our liberties now. The only protection we have from a tyrannical government is an armed and vigilant citizenry. I call on each of you to make your views known. Call and write your elected representatives. Tell them no more. I cannot and will not stand for any further government usurpation of my liberty. Tell them I am and will remain free. Thank you.